But new video shows a major explosion on the Israel-Lebanon border about 4:30. So far, we haven't heard any confirmation from Israel or Hezbollah. ABC News contributor and former U.S. ambassador to NATO, retired Lieutenant General Doug Lute, is here for more. General, thanks for coming on. So an IDF spokesperson answered a question about a ceasefire going into effect, saying, and I'm quoting here, "These are matters at the political level. As long as we have not received other instructions from the political level, we will continue to operate." So is there a ceasefire or not?
Well, there are a couple things going on here. I mean, first of all, as we've talked about earlier on this program, the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah remains a potential spoiler for the negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. There's no mention of that conflict in the memorandum of agreement, except to say that there's a ceasefire, and there are no further details. So there's always this sort of wild card in the equation that a spurt of conflict, a spurt of violence between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon could derail the U.S.-Iran negotiations, and that's exactly what we've seen today with the talks in Geneva being postponed.
What do you think this means for the postponed talks between the U.S. and Iran now that Israel and Hezbollah and Lebanon are in this sort of limbo place?
Well, I think it reflects a certain sort of disconnect in the agreement between the U.S. and Iran, and that is that there are parties to the conflict, Israel and Hezbollah, who are not parties to the negotiation. And therefore, these two parties, the outside parties, Israel and Lebanon, have the capacity at any time to sort of intervene and derail the talks, just as we've seen today.
How concerned are you about what Iran could do with the windfall of cash it can get from this ceasefire deal?
Well, I think the voices from the Republican side of the Congress speak loudly in this regard. Look, one of the most immediate impacts of the ceasefire extension between Iran and the U.S. is that Iran can resume exporting oil. And at existing prices, as Senator Cotton mentioned, Iran receives a windfall of profits, which it can turn to its own purposes. So increasing regime control over the Iranian people, increasing the oppression of the Iranian people, and investing again and rebuilding the military capabilities that have suffered attrition during the air campaign. So this influx of cash, I think, is a major concern, especially on the Congress.
Retired General Doug Lute, thank you. A flash flood warning is escalating in Dallas. Officials are now upping the warning to considerable, and multiple roads in downtown Dallas are impassable. Thousands of people along the Gulf Coast are also under a flash flood threat. Remnants of Tropical Storm Arthur hit that region, flooding neighborhoods, and now more heavy rains on the way. ABC's Morgan Norwood is in Mobile, Alabama.
Deadly floodwaters inundating hundreds of homes after the remnants of Tropical Storm Arthur dumped 15 to 20 inches of rain, triggering multiple flash flood emergencies across the region. In Mississippi, one person killed while helping with storm operations, families treading the streets in knee-deep water, rescuers boating out to save people in flooded RVs, pounding on windows with paddles. Meanwhile, Louisiana now under a state of emergency after cars sloshing through streets turned rivers and a train toppling over after being swept off the tracks. And new video from above showing the mass destruction from tornadoes sweeping Illinois. At least 5 in the state touching down, causing widespread devastation. This man capturing the moment a tornado rips through his Effingham home.
Oh my gosh. What in the world just happened? The whole house that I'm living in just got torn to pieces.
And look, we are not out of the woods just yet. An additional round of heavy rain set to move into this region starting later today and continuing into tomorrow, of course, raising the threat for that flash flooding. Back to you.
Morgan Norwood, thank you. And ABC News meteorologist Leslie Lopez is here with more on the timing of all of that. Leslie, what do you have your eye on right now?
You still that flooding. I mean, it continues forward. Again, we're showing you more video. This is what it looked like over into Mississippi, rising water. You can see how many mobile homes are submerged, cars underwater. There were numerous water rescues in the area, in addition to, again, businesses and homes being flooded. This is going to be a cleanup effort, too, in some of these areas once this passes. But still, we're talking about a lot of rainfall moving through the region, anywhere from Texas to Louisiana, out towards Mississippi, Alabama, also dealing with heavy amounts of rain. I do want to point out this, 29 inches of rain in Cotton Port, Louisiana. I mean, that's incredible amounts of rain, very dangerous. And 12 inches over the last 36 hours through areas of Mississippi along with Alabama. Incredible amounts of rain, really producing the significant risk to life, obviously to property as well. 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour, and then 2 to 6 inches of rain still to come. So more rain on the way. So that does continue with the elevated flood risk, and that extends all the way into areas closer to Georgia too. Now that severe weather threat, this is out towards the Midwest. It's a 3 out of 5 level threat. Destructive winds, large hail, tornadoes still possible. We're focused on Saturday for Kansas and Nebraska, and within that bullseye area, that's going to be anywhere from Colby up to Kearney, and then getting out towards just outside of Lincoln, Nebraska, but really getting close there too. And so we're going to keep a very close eye on the area right through your Saturday. I want to take you out to Texas, because not only is the danger for flooding in some parts of Texas, but a large majority of Texas dealing with hot, humid weather. It is going to be that extreme heat warning that gets up to about 121 degrees. That's putting life in danger. So again, find the cooling centers, find the AC, try to stay cool at all costs, especially in McAllen. Look at that, 118 is the feels like temperature. And that extends into Florida along with Louisiana, but Florida, 108 degrees at Port St. Lucie. That's the feels like temperature today, and it doesn't let up. It looks like it's going to continue right through the weekend. So getting into Dallas, 105 by Sunday, 105 in San Antonio, still hanging on to the heat. Over into Charleston, 94, and then 101 degrees over into Miami. And then we move you out to the west, where it's dry heat that we're concerned with. Red flag warnings are producing the opportunity for fires. We saw in Riverside County, 9% contained, really good containment on the area. At least forward progress has been stopped. And then getting into the red flag warnings. I mean, they're in Nevada. They're out towards areas of Arizona, Utah, moving into Oregon, also into Idaho, and then also fire weather watches for areas outside of that into Colorado, moving into areas of Washington. 35, 50 mile per hour winds, dry conditions, and plenty of accelerants to burn. So you got to be very careful as we're approaching the summer months. But in addition to that, we have the fall that brings in the Santa Anas. We're not even there, and we're already seeing some red flag warnings for the west. The hot temperature continues. I want to point out Portland, 98 degrees Monday, 99 Tuesday, 91 Wednesday. Phoenix, you're staying into the triple digits, getting up to 112 degrees by Wednesday. So hot weather almost coast to coast. We'll send it back over your way.
All right, Leslie, thank you. TSA is warning travelers to expect crowded airports this holiday weekend. They say people traveling for Juneteenth should prepare for long security lines. ABC's transportation reporter Sam Sweeney has more on what to expect there. So Sam, what's it like at the major airports right now?
Diane, more than 700 flights have already been canceled across the country, and most of them are either in Dallas-Fort Worth or Charlotte. And those are both American Airlines hubs, so things are rough. And as those planes are hopscotching around the country, they will face those residual delays. So if you're flying American today, make sure you check your app. But for the most part, there are more than 40,000 other flights set to depart today. 3 million people almost yesterday. Again, today will be another busy day. Sunday could be the busiest.
So how does it compare to other weekends?
Look, the entire summer is going to be packed. We are expecting anywhere from 2.5, 2.6 to 3 million people traveling every single day. One airline executive said every summer day is like the week of Thanksgiving. It is just going to be busy across the entire board. So make sure you have the airline's app and you check those TSA lines before you go to the airport.
Gas prices are below $4 a gallon for the first time since March. So what can drivers expect on that front?
Yeah, it's good news for people hitting the road this weekend and for the July 4th holiday, which is expected to be the busiest ever. Gas prices right now, roughly $3.94 a gallon. That's still up from last year when they were $3.21. You can always go to Gas Buddy and check the prices around your area before you head out.
All right, Sam Sweeney, thank you. Safe travels to you, Sam.
Thank you. See ya.
Coming up, The big change in the United Healthcare CEO murder case, why the suspect's lawyers are withdrawing plans for a psychiatric defense. Our Brian Buckmeyer's breaking down what it means for the case now. Also ahead, why a famous comedian's facing tax charges over millions of dollars in income.
Because there are tired dogs in your area, there are drivers in your area. Uber.
All right, team, listen up. I've changed my mind. I'm gonna have the truffle butter filet mignon.
Oh, that's a great decision, boss.
I'll take the miso chicken.
Please ask for me.
I'm gonna do the blackened salmon.
Sweet and sour shrimp for me.
Before we found Skyscanner, searching for travel deals got a little crazy.
I'm comparing
sustainability in there. I love when we were able to buy something where you're like, okay, I'm buying, but also this was recycled, you know?
They're also really comfortable.
They're really cushiony. And I am one of those people who, this is not the summer we're gonna buy a new couch, that I'm like, oh, I know the exact stain and hole spot on the couch where these will go, and it will look chef's kiss.
There you go. Follow us for lifestyle tips. Lori, thank you. And to shop these products and more of the right stuff, scan that QR code bottom left corner of your screen. And for the weekly roundup of the best lifestyle content from Lori and GMA, catch GMA Life weekends here on ABC News Live and streaming on Hulu. And before we go, here's a really quick look at Cinderella's castle getting a retro makeover. Our parent company, Disney's iconic landmark, is going back to its classic color palette. And you can see it right now at Walt Disney World in Orlando. I'm Diane Macedo. The news never stops, and neither do we. We have a lot more news right after the break. I bet Cinderella would love to.
Hi, I'm calling to verify your Medicare number.
I'm not telling him anything.
Yes, hello?
If someone calls asking for your Medicare number, hang up. Learn more at medicare.gov/fraud.
It only costs this much? Zion Market's prices are so reasonable.
Zion Market.
The credit cheat sheet in your pocket. Learn how credit works. Self can help.
Who's behind the so-called consumer attorneys of California? The same billboard lawyers caught scamming accident victims, steering them to doctors that charge up to 10 times the normal rate, leaving clients buried in debt. The law firm under investigation for allegedly paying people to file false sex abuse claims. And the firm who embezzled millions from disaster victims. These so-called consumer attorneys are spending millions so nobody holds them accountable. Fight back at protectcaliforniaconsumers.com.
Crime Stories 2020, Friday nights at 9.
Hey guys, I got a story I need to tell you about in life. Me and my little sister have been refusing to go to visits with my father, and now I'm having to be barricaded in my room to stay safe.
That is the start of the craziest journey of our life.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Live reporting, breaking new exclusives. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
I'm Diane Macedo. We have breaking news. A U.S. official confirms Israel and Hezbollah have agreed to a ceasefire. Iran had warned Israel of serious and immediate consequences if it continues its campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Meanwhile, U.S. and Iran talks planned for today are on hold, and a growing number of Republicans are speaking out against that ceasefire deal. Now, President Trump says Iran is finished and they get no money, but that's not what the agreement says. Senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is here for more on that. Selena, what's the latest on this new ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah?
Well, there's still a lot of questions about this ceasefire and how long it's going to last for, but this does come after the White House at the 11th hour scrapped Vice President J.D. Vance's planned trips to Switzerland for the next round of talks on this U.S. and Iran deal that is a framework that then gives 60 days for both sides to negotiate a final agreement. Now, that trip was scrapped after fresh strikes that Israel launched against Lebanon. Remember, this agreement calls for this war to be ended on all fronts, but Israel was not involved in this deal. They've made it clear that they're not bound by it either. Now, President Trump, for his part, has said that he expects Netanyahu and Israel to get on board with this deal, but it's clear that this is straining the relationship, and the president has been expressing increased frustration towards Netanyahu.
President Trump is defending the ceasefire deal with Iran on social media. How's he responding to the growing criticism from members of his own party?
Yeah, well, the president is pushing back against the criticism. He is saying that in a post this morning that the war has, quote, diminished Iran and that the U.S. didn't meet out of desperation. Iran did. But it comes amid very notable pushback from key Republican senators who are calling this deal a win for Iran, making the point that this deal gives a lot of economic relief and benefits to Iran from the outset before these tough talks even begin on key issues, including around Iran's nuclear program, which, remember, was at the core of this conflict. So take a listen here to what Republican Senator Ted Cruz and what Tom Cotton had to say, who chairs the Intel Committee.
Giving billions of dollars to theocratic lunatics who want to murder us is an exceptionally bad idea.
And we're going to lift sanctions on Iran's oil exports right away. And based on their pre-war rates of production and recent prices for a barrel of oil, you're looking at somewhere between $150 and $200 million a day.
And there was also a blistering statement from Senator Roger Wicker. He chairs the Senate Armed Services Committee. He says that this deal negotiates away the gains that America has made from this war, and he says it is completely out of step with the president's goals.
All right, Selena Wang at the White House, thank you. And a U.S. official says this Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire was to go into effect at 4 p.m. local time. But new video shows a major explosion on the Israel-Lebanon border about 4:30. So far, we haven't heard any confirmation from Israel or Hezbollah. ABC News contributor and former U.S. ambassador to NATO, retired Lieutenant General Doug Lute, is here for more. General, thanks for coming on. So an IDF spokesperson answered a question about a ceasefire going into effect, saying, and I'm quoting here, "These are matters at the political level. As long as we have not received other instructions from the political level, we will continue to operate." So is there a ceasefire or not?